Hi, welcome back. We are on episode 52, and today where are we going today?
Today, we are not going to go very far, but
Okay.
we're still around the lake.
Okay.
But we're going to call that episode the end of a cycle, because
Okay.
this is the end of the cycle for Yeshua.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think it's the cycle of all the teachings and
teachings.
training he has been doing around the
Okay.
lake is coming to an end.
Yeah.
So now he's ready to move to Jerusalem.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Jerusalem is calling him.
Okay.
So Yeshua again, more and more the fire, the Christic energy which is inside him is exploding in his chest, and he feels like it's liquid fire, pure Christic energy. And sometimes he's wondering if he can actually tame that energy. It is so intense. Or if, on the other hand, he was going to be completely dominated by it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, there is always this duality where he's trying to keep a little bit of his
Himself.
human,
What he
yeah,
feels of
human ego.
himself,
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah. But in fact, it is a full question because they were one and the same
Yeah. He just wasn't used to it.
So,
Well, he was.
But you can tell that the energy now is more intense than it has ever been, right? So the energy, it feels as a cyclic, undulating intensity. It's probably like the moon.
Yeah.
So at its paroxysm, Yeshua could be sword as well as caress, it can be very intense.
Okay.
Yeah. And it could be at the same time a slap to educate you or a consolation with no end. You see, there is this kind of a duality and opposite. And once it was at its crest, and it was the day after the Shabbat, in the month of Tammuz, which is the month of July around, a period which is full of storms on that specific year. And despite the inclement weather, some fishermen had decided to try their chance at fishing, and among them, of course, the hardcore of the fishermen, Andrew, Peter, Bartholomew, Eleazar, John, and a couple more were on board to fish, and Yeshua had declined their invitation, And in the meantime, on the pier, a group of Pharisees, the Hebraic priests, were trying to defy Yeshua with a few points of doctrines. They love, to talk about the doctrine. That actually, those points, Yeshua didn't care about them, but that's probably why they were trying to poke him.
Right.
And as usual, in those villages where not much is happening, it had created a small gathering and crowd, right? Always eager to hear some heated discussions about the scriptures, I mean, they didn't have internet, they didn't have newspaper, right? There was only the scripture and what you could say about them, right?
Right.
And one of the Pharisees asked him, "And why do you always bless everything and everybody, Rabbi? Even the miserables who have obviously a very loaded soul, why are they getting your benedictions?"
What does he mean by that? Like the lepers or something? Like
no, even the
just
people
everybody.
who are poor,
Or okay.
yeah, or recluse or rejected by other people, in their perception is if you're not successful, it's because your soul is dirty.
Right.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Pharisee was obviously trying to provoke Yeshua and had a very condescending tone. And Yeshua responds to him by naming him. Why do I like to bless Ephraim? It is very simple. In my heart, it means do, and most importantly, be, so that you can receive the sacred. Why the sacred, in your opinion? Because it is the essence of everything, of all. Thus, my brother Ephraim, when I say, be blessed to a man who is passing by, I am simply praying so that the gate of the divine gets open more in him. It is independent of how much his soul is loaded. When I bless, I open a lock. I am suggesting a new horizon.
Very good. I like that.
And the Pharisee had a small smile, of course. I mean, they don't think in the same
Didn't
way,
he
right?
like stop to think, like, how does he know my name?
Yeah, no.
I think that's funny.
And then he said, if you believe summoning the sacred, Rabbi, it is pure blasphemy. You cannot summon the sacred, right?
Oh.
Yeah, sacred is only God controlling it, not you. Why do you think you have to be so compassionate than the skies? And Yeshua responds, what you call the skies, Ephraim, does not have any compassion and will never have any until the race of those who pretend to be humans are devoid of it. Because it is us, the women and the men, who are fabricating the skies, what they are or can become. We are creating all that.
Right.
We are participating at the creation of the laws that govern the invisible. In this creation, we are harvesting the fruits of our sowings. So at this point, Ephraim is very furious.
He is, because he's like, what are you saying?
He pointed Yeshua with his finger, towards his face.
Yeah.
Be careful, Rabbi. What you say is very important and dangerous.
When people start pointing, you're really getting to them.
Yes. And Yeshua responds, yes, I know. All I said is dangerous.
He lives in danger.
Yeah. So at that point, the weather is going to worsen suddenly, announcing a storm. It's getting really bad. And then Ephraim, the Pharisee again, look at your fishermen friends, how they are going to enjoy your blessings. They may even discover new horizons under the water. And Yeshua says, it is true. So at that point, Yeshua is so fed up with this guy, He bowed, turned around, and he started walking on the pier towards the water. The will of Aaron was ready to do something in him. He didn't know exactly what would happen, but he was following the impulse, that was brewing in his chest. And he's going to continue peacefully to walk to the end of the pier. And a complete void was inside him. A void merging Yeshua with the tormented nature around him, So you have to imagine the waves and the wind and the dark clouds and everything. And at one point, Yeshua realized that he's no longer touching the pier. He is actually levitating.
Oh my gosh. The Pharisees see
Yes,
that?
and yes, they do see it. And he starts walking above the water. He was not walking on the water.
Like, wait, let me see. Am I seeing this?
He was not walking on the water like it has been said in the Bible and Scripture.
He was above the water.
But he was floating above it. He was levitating, while the crest of the waves were drenching his robe.
Wow.
Yeah, because the waves and the splashes and everything. So he does not look at the shore, and he continued crossing the lake by walking, basically above the water, until he could rejoin the boat of his disciples.
I wonder what the disciples thought.
When he joined them in the fog and the waves, they're not really surprised.
Oh,
They knew something like that would happen,
Right.
And the goal of Yeshua was that they would understand that he did not come to give lessons, but to express and show them the power and the meaning of life. He wants to show them that the spirit can only be found and tamed in this internal reflection that makes the universe mutate as it finds itself in us. Yeah, literally, right? So, of course, at this point, and I'm not mentioning that, but the Bible is telling it, is inviting Peter to step outside of the boat and levitate with him above the water.
You can do it too.
Yeah, and he does. I mean, Peter does it for a little bit, and then he loses his face.
Because he was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's not possible,
Right.
So he falls in the water, and Yeshua brings him back to the surface, So when they all get back to the pier of Capernaum, a dozen of people were still here, under the torrential rain, unable to integrate what they saw. They could not figure out.
Right.
For them it was.
He's like a magician or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
like,
yeah. Of course, that story is going to be told, in all the village of Capernaum and the surrounding
and
areas.
Who knows what it's going to end up being the story, right?
Yeah. And 2 weeks later, as a result, travelers are requesting Yeshua's presence in Jerusalem. They said, you really have to come to Jerusalem. And, for Yeshua, again, it's Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem.
Oh, he keeps hearing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Yeshua would have preferred that there was only the lake and its surrounding, because that's really the place he enjoyed the most, and the hills, for the rest of his life. So at that point in time, and because of the story of, walking or levitating above the water, I mean, the term levitate did not exist at that point. Uncle Yusuf and Nicodemus are trying to come to Capernaum as much as possible, and follow the teachings of Yeshua. They want to, they realize that he's moving to another level, and they want to benefit from that.
Right.
And one of the reasons is also to tell Yeshua also what is happening and transpiring in Jerusalem, because both of them are members of the Sanhedrin. So they know all the inside stuff, all the political stuff.
Good thing he's got some insight. Well, although he would know anyway. But.
Yeah. So this way, Yeshua knew without much distortions, what the zealots were doing, the pressure that Rome was applying to Pontius Pilate, and the confirmed corruption of some members of the Sanhedrin. Yeah, not all of them,
right?
But probably most of them. Nothing was really clean in Jerusalem, like it today in Washington, D.C., right? Nothing is clean. So Procla, who we know as Claudius, I guess her name is, the wife of Pontius Pilate, is also coming as much as possible. And she's trying to wear the most modest clothes she can find to remain anonymous,
Okay, yeah.
I mean, she quickly becomes one of the best friends of Miriam, the mother of Yeshua. And so both of them were all souls, obviously, who were writing a long story together. They really enjoyed their company. And despite Yeshua being away, his name is now part of the story of this country, everybody's talking about him. So Nicodemus come to Yeshua and ask him, yes, Rabbi, for a lot of people, you are representing the expected Messiah. It's in the scriptures,
right?
Hebraic scripture. They all wait for the Messiah.
Right.
And I think they still do today, right? Yeah. And Yeshua goes, and what do you think about that? And Nicodemus responds, if a Messiah must come, you are the best choice. But in full honesty, I'm not sure if I should be happy or afraid. And Yeshua tries to teach him something very important. He says, why always swing between two states, being happy or afraid? Why always project in the future? For the time being, I'm here with you, and that is the most important.
So please stay present.
Yes,
basically.
exactly. Live in the present. Yeah. And Nicodemus tried to justify himself, and he says, Master, you're asking me my opinion. And Yeshua cuts him, Yes, but learn how to think in the present, Nicodemus. What I am, what you perceive of me, is entirely in front of you, without any of my thoughts flying towards tomorrow or towards yesterday. That is the main difference.
Well, he was trying to teach presence back then.
Yes.
He's still trying to learn that. Yep.
Yeah. Uncle Yusuf of Arimathea, on the other hand, is being more direct as far as the events, taking place in Jerusalem. For instance, he tells Yeshua about Barabbas, who is trying to create the confusion by using Yeshua's identity. So we have seen that Barabbas is using the name of Yeshua, and then Barabbas, who is basically Yeshua, the son of the Father. See? So it's creating a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
And he also likes to be called the Galilean. Of course, he has nothing to do with Galilee.
Right.
But
he knows.
He knows that it is a name which is used by the Romans to describe the real Yeshua.
Okay.
So, And the actions of Barabbas, the head of the zealots, are actually approved by the majority of the people because they think that a liberator could not be without a sword in his hand,
Oh, okay.
even if he was guided by the Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
After all, wasn't Adonai or Sabaoth, the God of Moses, a vengeful and warring God?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was obvious that the people liked that. And, if someone was coming
Well, that's what they were used to.
Yes,
That's what.
Of course. They could not understand
They
or even envision anything else.
Right.
And I think we still do it nowadays, right?
No, I think we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing has really changed here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Uncle Yusuf also talks about the Sanhedrin to Yeshua. So the Sanhedrin is composed of 71 very high priests and 2 head, and they are called the Kaif, and then the other one is son of the Kaif and the father or something like that. Yeah. And I tried to find a name today, and it looks like things have changed, or it's no longer the same name.
Yeah.
So we're not going to use the name that has been given
No,
today.
please don't.
So Uncle Yusuf did not like to speak too much about it because of its ugliness and ambiguities, inside the Sanhedrin.
Right.
It's like a very high political party, right? Ruling above Palestine, religious and political. So one day, he even told Yeshua that he would have preferred to not belong to the Sanhedrin, as he felt he was lying to the Caifa, the head, when saluting him.
Oh.
Yeah. All powers, he knew it, was the theater of lies, and one was sucked into it as soon as you belong to it.
Well, it sounds like our government.
Well, nothing has changed. Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as you get elected, or as soon as you
everything changes,
a job in it, you're becoming corrupt. You're being sucked into the machinery.
Right.
Yeah? And Uncle Yusuf even tells Yeshua that once the Grand Kaif, the head of the Sanhedrin, told him that if you want to continue to be among the people who decide, I must tell you a truth. Learn how to lie. This is the teaching from the head of the Sanhedrin.
Okay.
If you want to stay with us in this group of privileged people, learn how to lie.
Yeah, it's definitely the group that you're not allowed to be in unless you're ready to do all of this.
Yes. And so Yeshua responds, do you understand why I will never be the king of the Jewish people, whatever they may put in place around me? This world is immature, and whoever you are and whatever you do, if you participate, you have to lie, even with the most beautiful consciousness.
Oh. Yeah. So corrupt.
This is why I will never be of that world while being fully offered to it.
Right.
Yusuf, play the role that life gave you. It is yours, and it is noble because it matches your engagement. For everything else, leave it to the Eternal. His eyes sees much further. And do not worry about Barabbas, the Iscaries, Rome, or the viscosity of the Caifa. This is all so shallow. You see, Yusuf, there are no secret to unveil in my words. A lot think that men like me hold fantastic secrets. Yes, Yusuf, the secret is that there are none.
It's so simple.
Yes, you just have to be naked inside yourself. So at this point, Uncle Yusuf is touched, and he's kneeling in front of Yeshua and lowering his head. And Yeshua accepts to give him a blessing, not as a sign of humility, but because he sees joy in it, the joy resulting of the true light. The awakenings are always done little by little.
Right.
And we know that, right? So life goes on around the lake, and one day Yeshua decides to gather his closest disciple in the house of his mother Miriam in Bethsaida. And there are about 30 people. And a lot of the disciples are questioning the path and the evolution of the teachings, at that point. They're also very aware that the movement, something is brewing around the character of Yeshua's. And rumors are going all around, beyond Palestine and all the way to Rome. So something is definitely brewing.
Something's going.
Yeah. And they realize that Yeshua has become a danger for some and a source of hopes for others, right? And we can figure out for whom he's a danger, right? But in fact, Yeshua was looking for hearts, hearts that could be capable to contaminate with love and light a growing number of men and women. However, most of the time, it was always the free us from the Roman oppression. That's all he hears from, a lot of people. Not so much his disciples. Yeah, or to be healed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And Yeshua does not want to stop there. And he was looking for something deeper and higher, And again, Jerusalem was calling Yeshua for sure. The disciple that was the most demanding was Judas, His level of education was one of the best in the group. And Judah was capable of having relations and exchanges at all levels of the society, right? I mean, he was coming from Jerusalem, but he had basically opened doors to a lot of levels of the society.
It's good to have somebody like that in your group.
Yes, but Yeshua knew that Judah was still in contact with some Iscarites and Zealots, And Yeshua was sincere about it, but he could not stop thinking that with the level of respect Yeshua was enjoying among the people of Palestine, he was representing a non-negligible weight against the Romans and the Sanhedrin at the same time. And he felt like it was a waste not to use that, know. And Yeshua, Judah tell Yeshua, Rabbi, if you go back to Jerusalem, and I think you need to do it, could you meet the procurator, Pontius Pilate? There is sometimes a woman among us who says he would receive you, and even that he is interested. And we know who that woman is, right? It is Procla, of course, disguised in as a local.
Right.
And Yeshua had never told anybody who was Procla, I mean, only his mother knows who she is. And when she joined the disciples, she used the identity of Livia. She's being called Livia. And because of her refinements, her poise and mannerism and her language, it was impossible for her to hide her origins. So they knew she was Roman of high caliber, but they just accepted her. And Yeshua responded to Judas, I know that, my brother. Your dream is good, but what kind of settlements can you imagine with Rome? Rome does not like to share. Leave to Caesar the world which is his. Am I a man ready to compromise? Tell me. And Judas responded, Master, allow me to dream. And Yeshua watches Judah for a long time, and he sees in Judah a certain tortured charm, which emanates from his person. So, I mean, the guy is pleasing.
Right.
But at the same time, he's fighting against conflicting ideas inside himself, And he goes to Judas. We're all dreaming here, Judah. Otherwise, this world that you see would not exist. It is the extension of what our soul is capable to perceive and withstand. So change your perspective, Judah. Change it. I accepted to be the Messiah, but that Messiah is not the one you want. And Judah responded, are the one and the other not reconcilable? You always teach us that we must work to reunite. Isn't that a contradiction? And the group of disciples who are listening to the interaction, are shocked by Judah's daring behavior, And Yeshua turns to them and he said, why, my friends, why those reactions? Your brother Judah is simply expressing the coherence of his hopes. Is he wrong to remind us of the unification? No, he just omitted some elements. This pass, I'm repeating it, is done from inside. It would be an illusion to impose it on the world because it is not ready to track it, to embrace it. It is inside you that you must reunite. As long as humankind will be at war with its own thoughts, its own desires, and even its most beautiful aspirations, the kingdom of Caesar will be fighting with the universe of Haun, the universe of the real human. Listen to me. The one who knows how to create in the invisible using sustained and focused thoughts is also creating in the visible. For each form, you need to have a preform. Yeah, and isn't that the way we create everything?
Yeah,
First, you think about it, right? And then you materialize it. So he continues, start thinking in your heart, and it will happen. I'm asking you, prepare peace in this way, because I will not be the king of a truce between two wars. Unfortunately, these reasoning and teachings, were not understood by most disciples, and I don't think it has been conveyed in the scriptures also. They only saw an argumentation, between Yeshua and Judah, and not a deep teaching in Yeshua's words. Yeah, and that exchange will actually create some tensions between Judah and the rest of the group and a few disciples, right?
Okay.
So, and Yeshua looks at them, and he realized that everyone has his own soul color, right? And Yeshua comes with a rainbow soul, multiple colors.
Right.
Peter is coming with red carmine, which is choleric, very energetic, right? But also stubborn.
Right.
Eleazar, John, is light blue, more open toward the skies and the divine. Miriam, his wife, was emerald green, definitely a wisdom and a lot of heart. Yeah. And certain colors were not mixing with others, So the result was that most disciples did not perceive the teachings as a profound lesson, but more as a way to argue. So Yeshua is forced to recognize that they are not understanding the keys that he has been handing them for the 100th times. No matter what, the tilling of the hearts and the challenges are continuing their work of slow evolution of the souls. Yeah. And it's still going on today.
Yeah. Definitely.
So Yeshua for a while is going to continue teaching around the lake and through the hills of Galilee. A few times he taught on the mountain in front of very large crowds, and at that point the Christic energy was so powerful at times, that Yeshua was praying to tame it and limit the flow and the intensity of his words and the ideas coming out of his mouth. Yeah, because he does not control what he's saying,
Right.
I mean, this is all channeled,
All
directly, and he has to say it. Yeah. And his hands are also healing everybody constantly. And it felt good to offer that. And certain nights, Yeshua was so exhausted in his flesh by the Christic energy in him that he was asking his wife Miriam to place her hand on his chest, try to bring some peace and rest, And one morning, Yeshua knows that he has to leave and travel to Jerusalem. The time has come. There is no delaying the inevitable.
Right.
So Eleazar, John, as we know him, and Thomas asking Yeshua for how long he will be gone. And Yeshua does not respond. The night before, he had met with Elohim, the extraterrestrial presence who is directing him and making sure that the plan is happening.
Right.
And Yeshua would follow the recommendation of Elohim. so that the plan would unfold as prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So they know what the plan
The
is.
timing of everything,
Yes,
right? Everything is
but
done.
Yeshua unfortunately doesn't know all the details of the plan.
Right.
Yeah. And he decided that no more than 20 people would follow Yeshua on such bumpy roads, to Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah, the young sister of Yeshua, wanted to be among them. She had recently joined a group of his disciples
Mm-hmm.
after finding her husband dead in their field.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, a hardship is presented to us as a yeast to a better life.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, Sarah and her husband were tilling and, harvesting that little field they had to feed
Right.
themselves and make some
Mm-hmm.
money. But obviously, the husband died early. And so, one early morning, the small group starts walking to Jerusalem. And Yeshua looks at the lake one last time.
Mm-hmm.
he knows that his life in Galilee has come to an end.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. This is why we call it the end of a cycle, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
right. Yeah.
the story is over.
Right. Yeah. He knows what's to come. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a lot to carry.
It is. It is. Yeah.
So. Well, thank you so much for that.
You're most welcome.
Sharing that information with us, and thank you for joining in. And we hope to see you next time.